So this is part A of the Khoodeelaar television channel broadcasting on the internet under the banner of Baby Angel Geronimo editions. This is being broadcast at timed at 09:10 hours GMT and at 09:10 hours GMT and 10 should not be 09:10 hours. The time is wrong. Time should be 10 hours GMT. 10 hours GMT and 11:10 British Standard Time on Monday, the 16th of October 2023. The Baby Angel Geronimo editions, but the extensive potential updates based on the overall experience of Baby Angel Geronimo. About the evilness being done by the decision makers in the United Kingdom, in the name of the United Kingdom, as typified by the criminals making the decisions to falsely accuse Baby Angel Geronimo of being infected with tuberculosis. Baby Angel Geronimo has never been infected with bovine tuberculosis. And so, therefore, the claim made by the evilness personified by in Christian Middlemiss and George Injustice Eustace, aided and abetted by the criminal Boris Johnson, who said, as reported on the front page of the London Times Magazine, 22nd of April 2023, quote, I'm meant to be in control. Listen to the rest of it. I'm the Führer. I'm the so the fascist Boris Johnson boasted and abetted and endorsed the criminals at DEFRA in the plot to the perfectly healthy Angel Geronimo. This campaign of harassment against Baby Angel Geronimo was described by his human mom, Helen MacDonald, during 2021 as being the target of a torture program, that she felt she was being targeted for torture because all the evidence, scientific evidence, rational, objective evidence, she obtained at great cost to herself to prove that baby angel Geronimo was indeed perfectly healthy and was not in need of being treated as if he was not healthy. Rejecting, and mostly they were playing deaf. Pretended that they were not either understanding what Helen Macdonald was saying or that they were not interested in what she was saying. The fact that the Boris Johnson, the Führer, the fascist, the Hitler, the king of the world, was backing the DEFRA criminals, made the DEFRA criminals even bolder than they would have been had somebody like Theresa May been in post at the time. She was in post not long before Boris Johnson, and she didn't come into play, as it were, as the incumbent at number 10 Downing Street, asked to consider the actual truth. Engaged. She was not engaged because she didn't make any express overt statement. She didn't make any overt statement, endorsing the criminals at DEFRA. Although, in effect, during her years in power, the DEFRA criminals did exactly what they continued to do after she left and was replaced by the liar Boris the Criminal Johnson. And it was during the period in post at number 10 Downing Street of Boris the liar, congenital liar Johnson, that the actual formal procedures in the courts actually occurred. And we have mentioned so far mainly three criminals sitting as judges. One at the district court level, which is a criminal called Layton, who was followed by a criminal called Murray in the High Court, which criminal Murray was followed by another criminal called Griffiths in the same High Court in London. And all as the other That's what we are dealing with. The baby angel Geronimo is the witness to that, and the world's bestest witness to the criminality of the British state. And Boris Johnson, the criminal, was in paper Nazanin Zaghari Ratcliffe, the Iranian born woman married to a man called Ratcliffe, an accountant, English accountant called Richard Ratcliffe, was ambushed while she was visiting her biological parents and family in Iran and accused of being a spy, and then refused to be given her passage out of Iran with her husband Richard. When the they had got wrong, she expected the foreign secretary to protect her. What did Boris Johnson, the foreign secretary, do instead? He things that was instantly used by the Iranian propaganda machine, which claimed that Boris Johnson himself had supported them against Nazanin Ghaffari. And the substance of that was that when the particular select committee before which Boris the criminal Johnson appeared at the time when he made this completely damaging, treacherous, stupid, dishonest, careless, untruthful statement saying that Nazanin Zaghari Ratcliffe went to Iran to do things teaching the Iranians. Now, that was a kind of shorthand way of saying that she was instructing Iranians how to betray their country, etc., etc., and that she was doing that on behalf of the UK state. Now, that was exactly the opposite of what was happening. Nazanin went to Iran to visit her biological family and see relations. She wasn't there to instruct any Iranian on anything. But it was not the Iranians that gave the ambush. It was Boris Johnson who ambushed Nazanin, and immediately the Iranian propaganda apparatus grabbed hold of whatever he said, Boris Johnson that is, and said, look, here is the proof. But the real reason which unfolded years later was that Boris Johnson knew that he was lying. He knew that the reason for the Iranians detaining Nazanin Ghaffari Ratcliffe was known to him because they had made it clear why they were detaining her. It was a bargaining chip because the United Kingdom government, the state, owed the Iranian state and government hundreds of millions of pounds, dollars. Can you believe that? You should believe that. And similarly, behind the program of phantomizing the test on baby angel Geronimo lay a political decision by the UK state to avoid paying millions of pounds, just like the millions of pounds involved in the debt owed to Iran by the UK state, which decided callously to betray a British national and fake pack of lies against her, and in fact become party collaboration with the Iranian regime that was detaining her. She was being made to pay the price for the lies and deception perpetrated by the UK state. The UK state was perpetrating deception and lies in just like the others, with their animals, perfectly healthy animals, being targeted for planned massacre. Now, if the allegations, the plot hatched against baby angel Geronimo to those so the internet connection has come back, but this is erratic. This keeps happening in the environment where I'm having to be in while I'm doing this broadcast or attempting to do the broadcast. So the four judges in the High Court knew that baby angel Geronimo was absolutely perfectly healthy. Well, three judges in the High Court and the one in District Court before the case moved from the District Court level, County Court level to the High Court. And they all knew that DEFRA had been lying against baby angel Geronimo because the DEFRA criminals wanted to make an example, uh, penalizing an innocent baby angel Geronimo as a frightener to deter other hundreds or thousands of farmers from making successful claims against the lying DEFRA. That's what they were doing. Now, Helen MacDonald did not make any much of this real purpose behind their demonization of baby angel Geronimo. It is quite possible that wearing the disguise of professional animal experts, quite a number of criminals congregated around Helen MacDonald, wearing the disguise, as I said, as professional carers and caring careerists. They advised her against politicizing the campaign to defend the baby angel Geronimo's innocence. They did that as part of their service and their relationship with the DEFRA criminals. So they discouraged Helen MacDonald from taking a political stand. And as I said in previous broadcasts, Catherine McGahey, who appeared as the careerist, well, licensed law trading barrister called QC at the time because Brenda was still around. I mean, Brenda's passing has changed the gender of the title. Queen's Counsel become King's Counsels. So Catherine McGahey, being a licensed law trading barrister, was absolutely determined not to lose her license or to create a bad note on her CB. So she didn't want to challenge. She didn't want to tell the truth to the extent the truth deserved to be told, to the extent that the innocent, perfectly innocent baby angel Geronimo deserved the truth to be told in full. So there is a whole series of absolute prostitute literature littering the whole ruling, manufactured by DEFRA and delivered by Griffiths the criminal, which Catherine McGahey the reason why I say that the British judiciary is full of prostitutes, professional prostitutes, is because I have known the British prostitute judiciary actively. I have known them for more than 60 years. Even before I arrived in the kingdom, more than 50 years ago, I was doing the job that I do best, which is to create a constitutional, legal atmosphere that is not possible to be created by a careerist opportunist law trader, licensed law trader. I've taken on cases in response to people pleading to me to plead for them for impossible decisions to be made, which I have successfully made many, many times. I never appear in court. Mostly, I never appear in court. I have sometimes, but mostly I don't appear in court. I would have appeared in court if I had enough patience to put up with the lies in the courts. The times that I have appeared in courts, I have tested my own patience, my abilities to be quiet when I'm receiving pack of lies by criminals and prostitutes sitting in the benches. Essentially, what they do, for example, I mean, district judges, magistrate courts, high court judges, divisional courts, tribunals. I mean, they are absolute. They are, for a start, they are human beings, and the fact that they are licensed or superhumans, and lose the evilness that they actually rely on and trade in. Two judges in county courts, for example, one has retired not long ago. He was a licensed barrister, licensed law trading barrister, called Henrietta Manners. And the other one, I think, has been stopped from continuing to sit as a deputy district judge in the county court in Shoreditch and Clerkenwell and Shoreditch County Court. Both those criminals were sitting in Shoreditch County Court and Clerkenwell County Court. Now, Shoreditch County Court has been merged with Clerkenwell County Court. So it has become those two criminals, Henrietta Manners and Judy Goodman, if there existed due process and proper judiciary, objective, independent, not poisonous. But these criminals' behavior is noticed by the licensed law trading barristers or soul cheaters appearing before them. But like Catherine McGahey, they don't want to risk having negative points added to their CV. So they put up with this, or in most cases, collude with this criminality, as happened with Henrietta Manners and Judith Goodman. One licensed law trading barrister, a criminal called Edward Piss, I have re-edited the name as Piss Fraud Trick. Now, this criminal said that the reason why Judith Goodman was hostile and poisonous in her stupid sitting during 2011 was because of the demeanor of the party appearing before her. Demeanor is not a legal concept. If the law is properly understood and interpreted and stated, there is no such thing as demeanor that can be even admitted as part of the vocabulary in any proceeding. But this cunt, Edward Fitzpatrick, who promotes himself as a specialist barrister on housing, social housing, etc., 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 he told an outraged party whose rights had been violated brazenly in front of him by Judith the racist cunt Goodman, that the party's demeanor had prompted the hostility. Just like the three judges in the High Court against baby angel Geronimo, they completely denied the existence of evidence, fact, due process, rule of law, etc., etc. That's what Judith Goodman did. Because the same party in the same case, at a previous hearing, the judge, another district judge, deputy district judge, had ordered issued an order in favor of the party concerned. But the real hearing didn't take place at that time. It was just an initial hearing. The actual hearing took place with Judith the criminal cunt Goodman sitting as the trial or hearing or appeal judge. So I could elaborate on and detail, literally going into millions of words, my encounters and observations, encounters with and observations on British judges, British licensed law trading barristers, soul cheaters, legal executives, and whatever else the fucking system says it has. The, there is no judiciary, there is no judges, there is no even question of getting anywhere towards justice, let alone constituting justice itself. All the so called miscarriages of justice, that heading, miscarriage of justice, is itself wrong because the carriage of justice doesn't happen. So it's always miscarriage of justice from the word go. So the campaigners like the now deceased Paul Foot, who were celebrated as campaigning for justice, I mean, he was involved in Guildford 4, I think, or 7, or whatever the number of the innocent people that were put behind bars falsely. I mean, calling it miscarriage of justice is absolutely misleading. That actually shows that the assumption exists, the operative assumption that justice exists normally. It doesn't. It is one set of licensed law trading liars against another set of licensed law trading liars. And the rumpole of the Bailey comes somewhere near to telling the truth about what actually happened, but nowhere near enough. It represents about 5% of the reality. 95% of the reality is done by Rampole, the writer of the Rampole series. Charles Dickens, the novelist, the writer, the author who has actually dealt with the legal system most thoroughly. That's a lie. There is nothing in Dickens, Charles Dickens, what actually goes on. Which is the reason why Charles Dickens is celebrated as the writer who did the most to paint the picture of the judiciary, of the essay justice system. Fuck them all. Charles Dickens was timid, corrupt, opportunistic in his approach, which is why he was so successful. He was like the Daily Sun. I mean, zombies consumed his books, and they were no more enlightened after consuming those than they had been before. So my encounters with the judiciary shows the truth. And the truth is that it's corrupt at every stage. And as I've said about the role played by the likes of Mota Singh, Mota Singh was a Sikh man from East Africa, and he became a QC when he started practicing this country after arriving in the United Kingdom, leaving behind a period of career in the law in East Africa. But Mota Singh was so corrupt and so shameless that he was made a QC and was made a recorder, and he was given a token kind of post as a quote judge of some sort. In the Central London County Court, where I appeared quite a few times against the local council Tower Hamlets, one criminal cunt sitting as a district judge or deputy district judge was contempt personified, because he knew that when he was in conversation with me in the court during the particular hearing concerned, nobody would come and challenge him. Nobody would hold him to account. So he could do anything. And there are hundreds and hundreds of cases that I could mention where judges lied, plain and simple. Tribunal members lied, and they're continuing to lie. Divisional court judges lie, Supreme Court judge's life. This individual who has been making a post retirement career, Jonathan Sumption, I mean, he's a liar. But the lying media, which actually employ him to suit their particular narrative, overhyped the fact that he was a Supreme Court judge. What the fuck? These two were Supreme Court judge or former Supreme Court judge. They don't mean anything. Because what they're doing is washing the brains of the brainwashed already and giving them something that makes them artificially content that they have got some news or something. But they haven't. Assumption comes up time to time on a topical issue that has got a peripheral reference to the judiciary. And because he can be called a former Supreme Court judge or retired Supreme Court judge, there is an aura, there is a kind of sound about it that makes him come across as, by definition, wise and intelligent and well briefed and informed. What he isn't, he never is caring, truthful, campaigning for justice. I mean, when people talk about slavery, they obviously think about the enslavement of people, mainly in the context of the African demographies. They never think that slavery, as seen in Africa, is nothing compared to the slavery that has always existed in England, very much at the expense of the ordinary white indigenous people. The overwhelming majority, and I speak on the evidence, the overwhelming majority of the white indigenous people, absolutely ignorant and stupid, unconcerned because of the brainwashing. So they're fed absolute lies and they repeat those. And the most stunning verification of what I'm saying is found in the immediate 24 hours, 48 hours after the 2016 Brexit referendum. During those hours, zombified white individuals targeted anyone who to them looked like a Muslim and they attacked them. The Brexit referendum has nothing to do with the faith or culture of individuals. It has absolutely nothing to do with those. The Brexit referendum was in fact a reversion, going back to the caves, because the membership of the European Union, just like the membership of the United Nations and other international treaty-based organizations and conventions, etc., are a way out of the cave mentality, backwardness, stupidity, darkness, lack of enlightenment, lack of care, lack of concern for society. That was what Brexit was about. So they associated the zombies, all the people from other faiths and other, not just Muslims, other people So when the Brexit result was publicized, they thought that this was the license for them to take revenge against anyone who they suspected was a threat to the Cape mentality and the Cape culture. So they started attacking mainly Muslim women wearing Muslim dress. I was walking in East London on the day after the referendum result, not anywhere near the main road, quite far from the main road. But my hat, which on that day was white one, and from a distance, an individual sitting in the van probably concluded that my hat, because it was white and bright, resembled a kind of typical Muslim cap. And he started shouting obscenities at me. That was the day after the referendum result of 2016. And I knew that he would not know who I was, even if he came very close to me and had a day long conversation with me, because he would be that stupid to comprehend the depth and the height of my knowledge and my outlook and my overview, etc., etc. But he concluded that he could do that because he was addressing a Muslim who, to him, brainwashed as he was a complete description of the enemy of the people and the people belonging in the hole, in the caves. So that's what the judiciary perpetuates, the mentality of that depth of stupidity and backwardness and emptiness and idiocy and lack of care and lack of respect for other human beings. So when Boris Johnson betrayed Nazanin Ghaffari, Radcliffe, he didn't care. He couldn't care less. But then Boris Johnson is a congenital liar who couldn't care about anybody. Married to Marina Wheeler for 27 years. He couldn't care less. When he slept with Jennifer Arcuri in the same bed where he slept with Marina Wheeler, he couldn't care less. Similarly, with other people when he was betraying them. And this was a born traitor, a born liar who has been elevated to the post of position of being almost worshipped by the zombies and zombified until all the lies piled up and made it impossible for him to carry on lying and staying in public positions. But what have they extracted from him by way of accountability? Nothing. He is still getting paid millions of pounds for nothing. But the victims of his treachery, betrayal, and lying and corruption Baby angel Geronimo is the witness to all these, and it extrapolates perfectly to cover everything, not just the behavior of DEFRA in one department, every single department, especially the department unjustly called the Ministry of Justice. The department called the Home Office, which is not at all for protecting innocent people, but for betraying the innocent people. And what a name! Suela, Ibila, Cruella Fernandez has got herself a name that is so obscene, chilling. Braver man. She's not braver at all. She's the opposite. She's a completely crass embarrassment to humanity. Buddhist, Buddhist for heaven's sake. And she's the incendiary, explosive incitement against everything decent, everything civilized, so called. And our predecessor was no better. With a name like Pretty Ugly. Think about that, pretty ugly. Her behavior was nothing anywhere near pretty, but she was called pretty and she was ugly. And you've got other departments, other incumbents, and other ex incumbents, like the sleazeball Cameron, who brought to the country Brexit. And then, when he was finished, he went on to steal money, millions and millions of money, pounds, as consultant to an Australian crook. So there is nothing of due process, rule of law, and most certainly fairness, and absolutely most certainly no justice in this country. And baby angel Geronimo is the witness, contemporary, current, topical, consistent, emphatic witness to all the injustice, lies, and lying being done by the perpetrated by the criminals sitting in positions at the expense of the state, in the state, and there is no escape. We shall be finishing this particular part, which has been interrupted quite a few times, at 1 hour and 6 minutes, and the time now is 11:13 hours GMT, which is UK time is 12:13 hours, and we shall be continuing in the next editions as and when.